cold and rainy this December, and like many mornings, I get up, go outside my house into my basement. I don't really like to do that, but as I age, I realize I need more exercise than I did in my 20s. And therefore, each morning, I go and do a walk or run or some kind of exercise in my basement. Unfortunately, my basement, for some strange reason, maybe I'm lazy, maybe I'm an ultimate procrastinator, doesn't have any heat. So I still get in on the exercise. I get on my treadmill, which I have in my basement, and I start to do a quick walk. Well, I find treadmill walking extremely boring. As a matter of fact, I pretty much put it as about as boring as watching paint dry or grass grow. Not the most exciting activity. So what I typically do when I'm bored on the treadmill is I find something to listen to. Sometimes it's music, but oftentimes I take that time to listen to a recording of a trainer or some kind of MP3 of motivation or encouragement or some speech or some lecture that I heard somewhere that I wanted to get a longer explanation of the speech. So I decide to grab my CD player. Yes, I still have a CD player, even though many people in certain age brackets might think I'm kind of ancient. Well, think about the folks who are still walking around in cassette tapes, but never mind that. So I decide that I'm going to go and listen to a CD. So I put it in my handy dandy CD player, which I still have, and I start listening to a trainer. It was really good content, but about 3 to 4 minutes into the content, I'm realizing that I heard this before. And I start to ask myself, did I listen to this recording before? And I had just purchased this item, so no, I didn't listen to it before, at least not in this format. And I kept listening for it. I said, hold on, I have heard this information before. Why is this so familiar to me? And I listened to a lot of recordings. Throughout the years, I listened to hundreds, potentially thousands of recordings throughout the year, from 3 minutes to up to, 20 minutes. So just quick recordings. And it kept bothering me. So somewhere around minute number 10, I start to realize I have heard this recording before, and I know exactly where it was. A couple years prior to this event, I was at a training with someone who was teaching us internet marketing. A fascinating individual, and he had a partner, and they were teaching us, how to craft messages, how to write copy, how to attach things on social media, how to be able to create your content on the internet. And it was all about how to set up your websites, how to set up anything that you could do, how to build a website. So it was pretty grassroots type of atmosphere, but a little high end than the casual individual training. So after a while, I thought, hold on. I know as a matter of fact, I know I have this recording. So I went back, because after that course that I had went through, the course that I had, flown through, which cost me at the time, probably was the most expensive course, meaning seminar I had gone to, was about $2,000, which since then I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on learning new skills and new knowledge and an ability to stay abreast of what's new and how to improve our business model. So eventually, I grabbed that recording. Come to find out, it was the exact copy of, with the exception of an intro and an exit music, it was the same exact content. So what I didn't realize was that I had purchased the content and had been to this seminar and this training, and I actually have a second recording that I paid for, not realizing that it was the same thing. So I now have 3 exposures to this training, and I paid for it every single time. And it made me start to think, and it started making me realize that when you're building a business, especially in a digital space, if you're a massage therapist, and we spoke about this in the last chapter about you duplicating yourself, and meaning putting yourself out in the digital space or print advertisement or what have you, so that you can be in more places than your hands can physically touch. It was about something called content multiplier. Now, I learned content multiplier from an Asian guy by the name of Ping Jun, and it's all about being able to use the same content multiple times in multiple spheres so that you can actually have a life. Now, I step back from that because as you build a business, you'll realize very quickly that you need content. You need something to go on your Facebook page. You need something in your Instagram, your Snapchat, your LinkedIn. You need a YouTube channel. You need a website. That's already 6 different formats of media exposure. This kind of stuff will drive you nuts. Before you know it, you will end up spending more time trying to deliver digital products and digital formats out there in the community that you won't have enough time to spend with your patients and your clients. And that was a realization with me after a while, and that's why I started learning what Ping Jun said. And other people have used this before. Now, to put it more into a tangible application, years ago, going to a different story, I started in security. And this is when I had first moved to our town. And, I was a 20-something-year-old. I was, just getting started in my massage therapy career as a professional. And I took a security job because I needed some money. I had like maybe one client at the time. I was barely making it. I couldn't pay my rent and all that kind of stuff. And so I was struggling. But I ended up going to a factory that manufactured clothing. And I realized that at this place, it actually manufactured underwear. Now, in this model, I started to realize, walking through in security, one of the funny things about security is security has access to all kinds of stuff that even employees don't see. So I'm walking through the warehouse, and I realized that they're creating underwear. Nothing very, complex about it. It's something to keep you packaged downstairs, dry from whatever, and, keep you from rubbing on your outside of your pants so your butt won't get cold. But anyway, so I realized that this one specific underwear, which was made the same way, on the same machines, on the same thread count, had 3 different prices because they had 3 different brands attached to them. Now, without getting sued, I'm not going to mention those companies, but if you imagine this, there was a low end, which you would find probably at a place like, Family Dollar, low end underwear. But keep in mind, it's the same thread count, the same underwear, the same color, the same everything. But it was, let's say it was $5 for that one pair of underwear. The next up was a middle of the road. You might find this at Target or even at the mall in some places. This same underwear was closer to $8. Same underwear, same thread count, same everything, minus it had a different brand on the waistband. The third one, and if I mention the company, you would instantly know it. It is considered higher end. It's considered a little bit more posh. It has something to do with a horse, and I'll leave it at that. And I realized that these set of underwear, which is made in the same factory by the same thread count, was $20. And I understood what content multiplier was. What it means is you creating content to expose to different markets, to different atmosphere. It's the same content. It's the ability to use the same material in different spheres to attract a different market. And you price it and you structure it a little different. So let's give you an example. Let's say, and this is important because when you understand content multiplier, you'll understand why people can actually create an enormous amount of content. And content is anything you put on your website, in a book, on a podcast, anywhere that your name and your brand goes. If you're selling massage or you're selling massage creams or you're whatever it is, if you're selling yourself, or as I call it, pimping yourself. Actually, you should be the only one pimping you, by the way. I'm a strong believer in not having pimps, in the negative connotation. But pimping yourself, I believe, is cool because you're the one who's going to win in this. You're selling yourself to the community so that they can buy from you. Not in a sexual way, but never mind that. So content multiplier is You do something one time or two times, and you chop it up for different media. Now, how does this look? And this is what I learned from Ping Jun. And he has a course which is extremely expensive, and most massage therapists will not purchase it right now. Now, that's something I would definitely recommend that you do down the road. But what you do is you spend 3 days, and this is important. It basically means you spend 3 days and creating content that you're going to use all quarter. So think about that. You spend 3 days creating content that you're going to use for the next 3 to 4 months. So what does that look like? What that means is you are going to create informational products, digital products, maybe even print products, but you're only going to do it one time. Okay? You're only going to do it one time in one space, but you're going to chop it up. So what does that mean? Simply, you grab your iPhone or your Android, or if you want to go a little more high end, maybe grab yourself a digital camera with a nice mic, and you create content that you feel and you know that your audience that is attracted to your character, to want to talk with you, to want to work with you, that is going to be attracted to your therapy, is going to want to listen. So you create a plan. Basically, directors have these film plans. How they're going to film every scene is mapped out, because time is important. So you map out what content are you going to talk about. So maybe this quarter you're going to be talking about, and it's time in the winter, and you're going to be talking about cold weather and the effects of massage, or you're going to be talking about nutrition and cold weather nutrition. You're going to be talking about anything and everything that's related to that particular season of the year. On top of that, you're going to go, and if you're like my wife, you're going to go to a place like Goodwill, and you got to get over that issue of buying used clothes. You need a wardrobe, okay? Because every time people see you, if you wear a black shirt and a red tie, eventually that's going to get boring. So what you typically do is you get a whole bunch of wardrobe, which should not cost you. I mean, really, all you need to be comfortable is a pair of jeans or pair of slacks. Jeans I like, because jeans you can rock those with anything, and just a whole bunch of shirts, t-shirts, button down, polo, a little more higher end, a little lower end. You can get all this stuff from Goodwill on the cheap, and it's totally cool, because you're basically gonna be playing like dress up, and it's really fun to actually do that. My wife got me over this issue because she is frugal as caca, and so she started to teach me that get over the issue about buying used clothes, send them to the dry cleaner, and throw them in a washer, whatever you want to do, and then put them on, and you start recording your content. Then what you do is you start chopping them up, especially if you're going for the digital. Let's say you're going for Instagram. Instagram has IGTV, which is okay, but I tend to like the 1 minute version, because you can get it out and done. And think about that. If you record something 30 minutes long, you chop that into 30 1-minute segments, you now have 30 days worth of video content. You drop it on Instagram, you drop it on Facebook, you put a little text to it, you drop it on LinkedIn, you drop it on any other media, you drop it on YouTube. 1 minute, all you need to get some content. You got 30 days worth of content right there. You put an hour and a half into that content, and you got 3 months potentially of digital content. Okay? Now, what do you do after that? Well, you take that digital content, which is the work. You send it to a place like Fiverr. You get somebody to transcribe all your content from what you said on a digital format and place it in a written format, in a type format. And then what you do is you get it transcribed. After you get it transcribed, then you go through and you chop up little pieces. You can chop up a Facebook post. You can chop up a little piece of what you talked about and be one sentence and drop it in Instagram. You can drop it in all these different places. If you want to drop it on LinkedIn and you're talking more business and how to talk about business and the importance of massage therapy to business and the growth and stress, and how when you are stressed, you're not as productive, and how that can hurt somebody. You think about that. As you understand the idea of content multiplier, you'll find that you'll build a successful dynasty that will potentially grow your business and your influence many times over, so that thousands of people read, view, and digest your content so that you can actually have a life, so you can spend more time helping people with their health problems, stress, some of their concerns, maybe even some mental challenges if that's part of your business model, that you don't spend all day in online trying to find content because all you really invested was 3 days. And those 3 days, once chopped up and once you get the format, can create months of content. And then what you do with all this content, especially if it's digital, is you find a place like Hootsuite and you put it on the plan. Meaning you plan it out for the next 3 months, and once you set it, you forget it. You go back to what you do, and it'll come out like clockwork. It'll come out on YouTube. It'll come out on LinkedIn. It'll come out on Instagram. It'll come out on your Facebook. It'll come out because you've set it up that way, and you can build a business while having a life. The worst thing you can do is build a business where you don't have a life, that you either always monitor in your social media or you're trying to satisfy your clients. When you get to be very, very successful, you're going to have to understand the concept of content multiplier and person multiplier, because you cannot massage as many people who are going to walk into your door after you get this stuff set up correctly. You do not have the time in your day to massage and to help that many people. And then you'll learn later in another chapter how to duplicate yourself so that you're growing a business while you're also cutting down your hours of actual hands-on patients and clients to only 1/3. I'll see you next time. While Dan was lying on the table, we were having a discussion, and interesting enough, Dan was a former massage therapist. He started his massage therapy career back in the 70s. And mind you, he's a little older, and he's since got out of massage therapy. And now he has a custom home construction company. Now, Dan, who has grown children and grandkids and what have you, because he's quite up there, is a master builder. He builds these ginormous houses which are beautiful, ornate, has all the trimmings and what have you. And he loves what he does, because when you see his work and what he does, he loves. Now, I love seeing Dan's projects because they are unique and one of a kind. They typically take him a while to build, and once they're done, which can take anywhere from 6 months to a year to complete, he has a beautiful home and he sells it, and then he moves on to the next project. Well, I have another client. His name is Brian. Well, he's also in construction, and we have discussions on occasion interesting enough, about anything, including construction. Now, Brian does not build custom homes. As a matter of fact, Brian builds neighborhoods. His company builds moderately priced homes, and they, what I call, slash and burn. So they see a piece of property, they slash and burn everything. Well, that slash and burn, just cut down the trees, grade it, and everything, to actually create communities. Now, in the time it takes Brian to build a community, it takes Dan the same time to build one house. The interesting thing about it is Dan is working, and though he loves his craft, he can only do one house at a time. Now, Brian also builds communities, but he builds multiple houses that are less expensive than the one that Dan creates. So I brought this illustration up just to compare and contrast the different types of business formats that you can form. Now, you can become the expert. You become the best massage therapist in your area, and you can only work on one person at a time. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, you're charging somewhere between $65 to $120 per session, and your clients come in, say, once a month or once every other month, and they pay, and you love it, and everybody has fun. Now, let's look at a different scenario. Let's look at Brian's scenario, where you have that same client pay less but come in more frequent. Now, I bring these illustrations up because you can choose whatever format that you want to build your business. You can be a custom home builder and build one home a year, or you can be a tract home builder and build hundreds of houses per year. You just have to decide, and you don't actually have to build all of these. That's the biggest difference, is that Brian does not actually build these houses. It's his company, but he subcontracts all this out. He makes a little less than if he built one custom home that he keeps, but he builds a lot of houses. And the interesting thing about it is, because Dan is a one-stop shop, if he gets hurt or he's injured or he's out of work, then he no longer makes money. Now imagine you're the massage therapist and for some reason you get tendonitis, arthritis, bursitis, you fall, whatever. Your ability to make income has been instantly ended. Whereas Brian, who builds tract homes, he can be injured. As a matter of fact, he goes on so many darn vacations. I think he comes in pretty consistently once a week. And he goes on vacation practically every month. Now, so sometimes it's a short trip to go hunting with some of his buddies. Other times it's a week-long trip with his wife, or maybe he's going with his children. But while he's gone, he's still making income. So in your business model, you have to decide, am I going to be the most important person in my organization, or am I going to be one of the important people in my organization and make a fortune? Remember, this book is called How to Make a Fortune, not how to become the best massage therapist. It's how to make a fortune so that you can do other things besides spend your life in the dark. Now, when you're building $1 million, a six-figure to $1 million operation, you have to understand that it's not that somebody comes in and they pay you for doing a massage once a month. Is that you can find a way for that person to come to your business multiple times. Here is the reason. The reason is, if somebody comes to your office, say 2, 3, maybe 4 times a month, the likelihood of them purchasing other services, including gift certificates, which is another product which generates a lot of income, which is surprisingly not even turned in. You'd be surprised by the number of gift certificates that were never cashed in and will never be cashed in, but people give them all the time. Brian has purchased many, many gift certificates in the years for his staff, for his team members, for other things. Whereas Dan, he sends his wife in, but that's about as much as he's gone, because he only comes in maybe once a month or maybe once every other month when it's not building season. When he's in building season during the warmer months, you don't see him. You see him through the colder months when things slow down. Whereas Brian comes pretty consistently once a week. So if you're going to build a business, and a real business, that you are not the most important part. You are not the savior. You are a very important component, but you're not the most important. You have to step away. And you have to figure out how to get your clients to come in more frequently, because the more times they come in, the more chances you have an opportunity to sell them more products and upgrade them to other products. Like maybe you have nutritional supplements, or maybe you have essential oils that you provide, or maybe you have a retail component of your business where you sell a host of things like food or whatever, or massage oils. The more times you get your customer to come in or your client to come in, the more money you make. Now, here is the caveat. The caveat is you're going to have to reduce your prices so that that person comes in more. Because if you try to get that person who comes in once a month to pay, say they come in for $120 per visit, to get them to come in twice now, that's going to be $240. That's a little hard to swallow for most people. So consider getting them down, putting them in some kind of contractual obligation, which gives them a little bit of a discount. You're not giving away the bank, but you're also getting an opportunity to sell them more, because if you do it in the format where you have frequency versus one all, you'll find that you make two times and maybe even three times the amount of money per year by having them come in more frequently, because frequency builds a business. But if they come in as needed, that is something not sustainable. And if you're thinking about possibly selling your business down the road, when a potential buyer looks at your books and they find that you're the only person who's providing services, and that if you're not in the equation, the business goes out, it's hard for you to put a value on it. But if you have, say, you can only do, let's say, 20 massages a week. But if you have your client come in multiple times and you partner with other massage therapists and you retain, because you're the executive of the company, you retain a smaller portion of it, but your company is doing 80 massages a week. Whenever you sell that company, which may be 20 years, 40 years, 50 years down the road, it doesn't really matter. It's easier for the bank to look at it and see if a value. It's easier for an investor to buy it. And it's easier for you, so that when you want to step down as the executive, and maybe you just want to revert back to a simple massage therapy role where you're not running the company, you can do that with a pocket full of cash, so that you do good in the world and make your business thrive while you're not working like a slave. That's it for today. Chapter 15, Building a Funnel Like Vistaprint. Now, when I just started my business many years ago, only had a few clients at a time. I decided that I needed some business cards. And like any aspiring person who has a little ambition and a little bit of ego, I wanted to have a business card that was created with my name on it, my company name, and my title as massage therapist. Oh, to see it and to get those freshly minted business cards were exciting. But in order to do that, I decided I was going to go and search first. I did a search online to find how to find some business cards. Interesting enough, I found Vistaprint. Now, the unique thing about Vistaprint, and this is before Amazon became omnipresent, Vistaprint was probably the easiest way and the most cost-effective way to purchase and get our office paraphernalia, whether you're talking about a stationery, or you're talking about envelopes, or you're talking about business cards or stamps, or even posters, mugs, and a number of other things. Vistaprint was your source. And today, the company, which is international, ironic, they have print houses all over the globe, so you can still get things really fast, and they're still very cost effective. When I first went there, I remember just trying to look for some business cards, and I had the proper logo. Everything, put it into the computer and upload this and what have you. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I even had a logo at the time. I think it was just a business card. It had my name and my company name and my telephone number, which, by the way, was just a old a piece of a cell phone number, which had very poor signal, and it felt like a brick in your pocket. So as I used it, but anyway, then I digress. The interesting thing about it was I went to the website and I put in business cards. I filled out my business card with the pertinent information so that when I pass it out later, it'd be fine. Then as I decided to check out, Vistaprint asked me this question: would you like, and I was just going to get 500 cards, for $2 more, you can get 1,000 cards. Now, I had just agreed to purchase $15 to get 500 cards. And now for $17, I can get 500 more cards. What do you think I did? Of course I got the extra 500 cards. And as I went to check out, Vistaprint says, hey, would you like to get some stationaries? And with your logo and everything will be consistent. Of course, I decided to get some stationaries, because who wouldn't want a letter with their company name written on it? And then as I checked out, they said, would you like some envelopes? I went through this process and they offered me no less than 4 items before I actually checked out of the Vistaprint site. Now, what I just went through was not a website. What I just experienced was what's called a funnel. Funnels are different than a website in that a website is just a one-way interaction. It means it's a glorified brochure. And like many brochures, once you read them, you either put them in your purse, you put them on the shelf, or you put them in the trash. And though many, many websites have generated millions of dollars, the things that generate billions of dollars and now trillions of dollars, aka Amazon, is a funnel. Amazon is not a website. Amazon is a funnel in that it takes the purchaser through a process and it upgrades them by what you purchased before. So Vistaprint was probably the ones who mastered this art in the digital space first, and then other companies came along and realized that funneling. So funneling, the difference mainly is that you have a trajectory that you want your customer to go through. From the time they hit your website to the time they decide to purchase an item to the time they get upsold to something else, there is a path that you've already mapped out, and every customer goes through this path. So when you decide that it's time to focus people back to your website, we talked about this in previous chapters, is a funnel is important because it has a predetermined set of pathways and criteria for the customer. Case in point, someone comes to your website, they want to book an appointment, but they're not quite sure what they want to get. So they decide to look at your website, see what you have to offer, and they pick a 30-minute Swedish massage. Nothing complex about that. You have a certain price, they go to either book it or check out at the time. I would strongly recommend that you figure out how to get those people to purchase at that time. And the easiest way to do that is offer some more value for them to book at a time. So let's just say for Giggles and Wiggles that 30-minute massage was $40 on site. But as they go to book or check out, you say, hey, we'll add another $30. We'll add another 30 minutes on there for $20. Now you see the difference here. For $60, they're going to get an hour's worth of massage. But you have gotten $20 more. And as you may know, a 30-minute massage versus an hour massage, it's the same amount of prep time to do that anyway. So you get it and they're done. But now you got $20 more. But as they check out, you offer more. Would you like aroma steam, or would you like aromatherapy? Would you like a special foot massage? You start adding on all these things, and before you realize it, before the person checked out, who may have only come for a $40 transaction, have incidentally booked $100 worth of services, but you don't always have to touch them. So when you are building and you are sending your customers and your clients and your patients, have a predetermined journey you want them to go on. I learned funneling and funnel creation and funnel hacking from a guy by the name of Russell Brunson. He is probably the master of the modern day funnel in that he made it available that the average person can build a funnel regardless of what business format. So massage therapy or acupuncture or Reiki or nutrition counseling is because it's a service-based industry, it's an easy way to create a funnel where you upsell. Maybe there's some home study courses that you can add in. You get it? Maybe there's a book that you have which you want them to purchase as an added value. Once you understand how you want the person to come into your store, be it online, and then the other side of it is, what is your ideal product that you have? Now, what I mean by that is, someone enter your store via $30 or $40 for that massage. For that 30-minute massage was $40. What happens next? and where do you want to take them to eventually. Now, this eventually may take them 6 months or a year to get to, but maybe you want them on a $5,000 program, nutritional program, or maybe you want to take them to a retreat for a weekend in the Bahamas, which has massage and yoga and other things attached to that. Maybe you have a certification program where you help them to become certified as they graduate from your program to help other people. They may not become massage therapists, but there are other things that they can become certified. Let me put it in this perspective. There are more certified there are more certified yoga teachers in this country than there are yoga teachers. Let's say that again. There are more certified yoga teachers in this country than there are yoga teachers. The point I mean is that there's a lot of people get certifications, but they never actually use those certifications. Does that make sense? So a person can be certified in just about anything, but they don't necessarily use it as a way to generate income. It's just something to acknowledge that they've passed a course. And you can create a course that does not violate your state rules and your state regulations regarding health and wellness, but you can still create a certification for different things. And people will pay you a lot of money to do that. Many of my clients are certified yoga teachers, and they've taken 800 to 1,000 hours of yoga certification, but they have never taught a professional level yoga class outside of the school environment. They don't put their sign out and say, I'm a yoga guru, a yoga teacher. They just get the certification. So the question for you is, what is the path that you want your client or patient to take? Do you want them to end at the $40, or is the end point further out where they have a higher level of investment of time, and they have a higher level of investment financially, and you have a potential advocate and maybe a business colleague in other fields? So the thing to do before you move on is to go to this website, clickfunnels.com. That's clickfunnels.com. Go ahead and register. They have a 14-day trial, so you can try it out and start to understand the concept of funnel and funnel hacking. Once you do that, you will never build another website again. And the good thing about funnel, script funnels, not script funnels, ClickFunnels, is that you can build upwards of 14 different funnels, which look like 14 different websites, and you only pay one fee. There's a higher program that they have where you can have hundreds of funnels and hundreds of websites, and it's a little bit more, but you can have funnels. So give you an example of what I mean by a funnel for different things. Say you have a funnel for massage, but this funnel is specifically for geriatric massage. You're attracting people who are seniors that have different problems than somebody who's 20 or 30 or 14. Like today I had a gymnast come in, and her issues are different. She's just in puberty versus someone who came in who's 78. They have different focuses. So if you build a funnel for different markets, meaning maybe you want to work with teenage athletes who are gymnasts, where you have a funnel which focuses in imagery and talks about that stuff, but then you have another funnel for folks who are a little older who have things about mobility they're concerned with. So the idea is, no matter what product or service that you have in your business, you can build a different funnel and attract a different customer or client. Different than if you just have a website which has that you have geriatrics, and you have adolescent massage, and you have medical massage, and you have Asian, like Tui Na, or you have energy work massage, or you have different things which may be confusing, which sounds like a good idea. More choices, why not? Believe it or not, most people hate lots of choices. If you have a website that has 50 different services on them, you will confuse your patient because they don't know what to take. Too many options are confusing. And I'm going to bring this company up because I admire what they do. If you ever go to Massage Envy's website, and like them or hate them, they're kind of like the the hate it or love it kind of place. They have a very small number of massage types that they do. And they did that intentionally to avoid people trying to get confused on prenatal versus this versus that. They focus on a narrow bandwidth and they're very successful. They are the largest massage franchise in the world. They didn't get that way by having 50 items that you can buy on their website. They brought it down to a small, manageable number so that a busy professional or a busy executive or a busy parent or a busy student can just scan it, figure out what they want, and then purchase and then become part of their continuity program, which is about a membership. And that's the one which I started with Brian, is that memberships make money. Memberships you can sell to another massage therapist. You can sell a business that has a membership program, but you can't sell a business successfully at the same level if you are the superhero. You have to give your other therapists, and this is as you grow, you have to give your other therapists an opportunity to be the superheroes, and you are simply someone who's part of the team. That's it for today. Chapter 16, Non-Transactional Events. My friend John McPherson is brilliant. Not only is he a great family man and, father, but he's also a marvelous businessman. And he invited me to a bro party. And I thought, what is a bro party? Isn't that a little sexist to have a party just for guys? It was done at a local wine store where the wine company was the beneficiary because I had a whole bunch of people coming in and they had an extra room for wine tastings. But instead of wine, they also served beer. And with beer, they ordered pizza. So pizza and beer seems to go together for guys. I don't know why. I don't drink beer myself. I think it looks and smells like urine, but I do love pizza. So I came because John had invited me. Now, at his bro party, he would just, flower everybody, stop in, have a little chat, anything. He had some of his, in his beer cups. For the beer cups, he had his branded logo beer cups that were giveaways, and they were very inexpensive. He would use colors that were pink and colors that were blue just to throw guys off. And it was really cute and really smart and really savvy on how he did it. Now, by doing that event, John went on to become the real estate agent of the year for our area, and he went on to be our area president for the realtors of our area, using very smart non-transactional events. Now, the reason I used non-transactional, and it was actually Don Masura, who's a business coach and a friend of mine, who coined the phrase that I'm aware of. He calls it non-transactional. Now, as a massage therapist, your ideal incident is when somebody walks into your clinic or gets on your table, and after you've treated them with amazing health services, they pay you, right? And that's the normal way commerce generally works. However, if you're being very savvy like John, you're also including in your marketing strategy non-transactional events. These events where there's no money necessarily generated, the transaction is in fact just humanistic. You're just building more goodwill. And I know goodwill sometimes is hard to measure because we think that goodwill is great and it makes you feel warm and fuzzy, but it doesn't turn into coin. That actually is a bald-faced lie. That's actually pure bullshit. I believe that those events are the ones who engender people towards your cause, your mission, your company, what have you, because you don't expect them to pay you. And when people don't feel obligated to pay you, they seem to be a little bit more open, a little bit more free, a little bit more willing to help you out. And so One of the formats that I use in our business is having just different events. Some of them are dinner parties. And when you are looking at some of these non-transactional, maybe it's a get to know you event, or maybe it's an event not at your wellness center, not at your clinic, it's at somewhere else, that is just to invite people who don't feel obligated to buy your products. Now, John could have had his events easily at his office. His office is big enough to host his event, but he held it somewhere else, which was brilliant because it allowed people to feel like he was just a trusted friend. Now, the other side of this is using non-transactional events at your own home. I would encourage you, and I know a lot of massage therapists are very apprehensive because of the industry to invite people to their homes, but consider inviting a small dinner party. And it's important that you pay attention to the guest list. When you're designing a dinner party, very focused people who could potentially help your business, be aware of why the people are coming. And it's important here. You have to design it so that each person feels that it was worth their time, that they invested maybe 2, 3, or even 4 hours if it's on a Saturday, and they hung out with you and they laughed and you had some wine. And it doesn't have to be complex, but they have to feel. Like, for example, if you know that someone who likes to talk is coming, maybe inviting someone who likes to listen as well. When you are designing it, make sure that if you invite couples, that if you're having a small dinner party and you have seating arrangement, don't sit the couples together. The important thing is that couples come together and they know each other, and there's nothing surprising. But what you're looking for is ways to connect different people. So maybe you have a parent who's a teacher. Connect them with another parent who may have ideas about children, or they like crafts or whatever. Or maybe you have somebody who's in media, and you have another person who's a sports fan. These are two individuals who tend to do well with each other because they have a lot to talk about. And you want the conversation moving. One of the important things about this event, and remember it's non-transactional, is that have some wine. Wine, and I'm not a drinker, but I always believe in having wine at events because they help people to loosen up, to relax, to feel non-threatened. And we're not there to get drunk. You're just there to enjoy. It does not have to be complex. It doesn't have to be expensive. You can be wine and waffles as one event that I've used, which is really great because it's two combinations of Belgian waffles. And so this is just an example of non-transactional. You need to do these non-transactional activities. If you do them once a month, that's ideal. You'll build your power team of Chapter 17. That's an expensive piece of real estate you're giving away for free. Why are you wearing those shoes? I exclaimed to Marcus, my good high school friend. He said, I like these shoes. I actually got them for the holiday, but I actually had to chip in. I acknowledge there are some nice pair of shoes. He exclaimed that his shoes were $300. And that, at the time, was the equivalent in high school of about $2,000. So by far, those were, at the time, the most expensive shoes that I had ever seen someone I know wear. Now, these shoes were unique in the fact that they had an iconic figure that many in the basketball world already recognize. Now, if you're not in basketball, you probably know this symbol as well. Some time ago, Nike partnered with probably the best basketball player of all times. Yeah, you know that guy. Bald head, keeps his tongue out, likes to laugh a lot, really great team player, and of course, he can dunk like the best. Yes, his name is Michael Jordan. And those pair of shoes that my friend Marcus was wearing were Air Jordans at the time. Now, he was a diehard Jordan fan. He could recite the stats. He knew where Jordan was born. I think he even knew what the man's blood type was. He ended up going a little further and had Michael Jordan posters on his wall, and he had a full sweatsuit. And of course, that Air Jordan symbol was embossed on his left breast. Now in high school, it's probably okay. But as you grow a little further in your business development as a massage therapist or any practitioner, you have to come to a realization that you have an expensive piece of real estate that you're possibly giving away. Now, no more so did this become a real for me when I met Miss Jane Rings. Now, Jane had an embroidery company in her home. As a matter of fact, it was on the bottom floor of a 2-story building. And like many upstart business owners, I didn't have a lot of money, and I truly did not have any business savvy. As a matter of fact, Jane taught me so many things about business because she had been in it a little while further than me. No, she wasn't a massage therapist, nor was she a holistic practitioner. She simply had an embroidery company that she ran outside of her home. Now, eventually, my first set of embroidered items came from her. And yes, because there were small quantity, they were a little on the pricey side, but what it did was officially acknowledge that I had a company, more so than a business card, in that it meant that I was now wearing my own branded apparel, my own piece of real estate, and my own logo that I had designed. No, it probably wasn't as famous as Michael Jordan or any other brand that you can kind of recognize, but it was my own, and it was a representation of me, or an extension of me. And this became a bit of a nuisance because when I decided to travel outside of my small town and go to San Francisco, the big city, I, by that time, had some more items, and my sister, who actually designed my first logo, acknowledged, Nikkei, every time I see you, you're always wearing your company colors. And though she said it sort of negatively, I took it as a positive because it meant that I was doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing as a massage therapy marketer. I am to wear my branded apparel unless I'm being paid for it. Now, the title of this chapter is It's an Expensive Piece of Real Estate That You're Giving Away for Free. Now, other than your smile, which is very attractive, and your eyes and your facial expression, which is probably one of your best and most profitable, believe it or not, pieces of real estate you have on your body. Outside of that, the next best thing to your smile and your beautiful, captivating attitude, of course, is your chest. That is a piece of real estate that we acknowledge and we give away for free. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. When was the last, unless you're an investor, when was the last time that Adidas paid you $1 for wearing their brand? When did Calvin Klein ever pay you 50 cents for putting on his jeans? When did Ralph Lauren of Polo ever give you even a penny for wearing one of his shirts? And yes, as much as I love him, when did Michael Jackson give you even a free ticket to one of his games just for buying his $300 sneakers? Now, unless you're an investor or you know those individuals personally, the answer is probably never, and they probably never will. But do you know that trillions of dollars are generated from people who are wearing other people's brand? Now, I like certain brands myself, but you will rarely find me wearing Ralph Lauren stuff on my chest unless it's something my wife bought from Goodwill because she's extremely frugal and she loves to do those kind of things. And yes, I will put it on because, hey, it was only $5. I'm going to put it on. What do you expect? I'm not spending $50 for somebody else's brand. I'm sorry. It is not what I do. If I spend $50, you better believe it's my own logo, or it's the logo of someone that I support or I'm encouraging. It doesn't always have to be your brand, but maybe there's something intrinsic value to you. Maybe you're wearing a brand of your church. Maybe you're wearing the brand of your school colors. Maybe you're wearing the brand because you have a personal connection. But I doubt very seriously some of the clothing designers you have a connection to. So the market of this side is that one of the most important parts of your business is, especially if you're building a 6 and 7, is always have branded apparel on. Now, Jane Rings, as I said, was my first mentor in branded apparel, and she taught me the benefits of wearing it all the time. No matter if you're in your own location or you're on remote location out of the state or out of the country, you should have your own branded apparel. Because with branded apparel, especially on your left breast pocket, if you're wearing a polo or you're wearing a sweatshirt or you're wearing a pullover or you're wearing a baseball cap, the important part of this is that someone is going to ask you a question. And you never, ever know if that's a potential business partner or a potential client. You never know. You could be in San Francisco, and that's an outlet for another business opportunity that you didn't even consider because you're only considering getting more people on your table back in your own home territory. So how do you go ahead and do it more economically? Now, I learned the hard way, and I went through probably 10 different embroidery companies, and many of them will not sell to you when you're small. It is a reality. Many of them, unless you buy 20 items or more, they will not buy from you. Now, if you're just starting out, that can be an inexpensive investment, but it's worth it if you believe that your company is going to build a 6 and 7 figure income. You have to have branded apparel. That's part of it. You can look at some of the best industries, McDonald's, Burger King, I don't care. They have branded apparel because it signifies that you belong to a team. You belong to an organization. You're part of a dynamic group of people who are doing things or selling products. That may be true or it may not be true. I don't know. That said, the best company that I found to do this and do it more economic, especially if you're a smaller company, and when you scale up to a company that's tens of thousands and maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars, that you can scale up because they have the capability to go, but they don't penalize you for being a startup. That company is right here in my own home state. They have been around since 1981. It started out as a mom and pop shop, and they've expanded. They ship globally now, but they still don't forget what it's like to be a startup. So they make it very cost effective that you can get 2 items or 4 items or 1,000 items and they still don't gouge you. The best part about it is once you get your logo created by a graphic artist, somebody professional, don't go and try to do it yourself. I don't care how great you are. Sometimes you're a little biased. Have somebody else do it. You can send it to them and they will vectorize it for free. Many companies charge you somewhere between $75 to $200 to vectorize. What I mean by vectorize is take it from graphic form and put it in stitch form so that they can actually understand, so the computer can understand how to print your logo in the right colors and look the right way. It's sort of basically taking it from image on your computer to branded apparel. Some companies charge you a lot. This company does it for free. They have become my most trusted ally, and they didn't even know it. And yes, I wear their branded apparel, but only in my collar. Very few people know because my apparel, as a matter of fact, what I'm wearing right now, the ones that's visible, has my company logo on it. So the takeaway from this is, as you build your enterprise, and I see this all the time in massage therapists, you are a representation of $1 million company. Think about that. If you are a representation of $1 million company, would you wear your normal streetwear? No. If you're the representative of $1 billion company, would you come in some shorts and a t-shirt? No. You would wear the armor of a business owner and a business developer because that's what the public expects. Even if you're a single owner operator, you're not going to stay there unless that's your goal. And if your goal is to stay there and be the one owner operator, that's beautiful. Stay there. It's wonderful. Don't feel guilty. But if your goal is to build a health and wellness practice equivalent of a clinic or holistic center that may have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 1,000 employees, then you have to understand that you have to switch gears from just thinking that, hey, my clients love me and they don't care if I come in cut off jeans and they don't care if I come in a soiled t-shirt. When you see your clients, you look like a professional. And the way you look like a professional is wear a branded apparel, preferably a logo, on your left breast pocket so that when you're out and about at the grocery store, or you're at a business networking event, or you're even at an airport traveling to a foreign country, when they look at your shirt, they look at you, they realize that this person is a professional and I'm willing to listen to them. And if we gel well, I may be willing to exchange service for money. That's it for now.